Wow.
What?
Wow. Wait till you guys see him. Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Wow. Herbie.
Kirk.
Wow.
Look at
Kirk,
that
you look
beard.
good, brother.
What?
Wow. Which beach haven't we been to?
Frosted
Oh,
tips?
my God.
Holy shit.
How's the red light therapy? Are we getting massages every day? Jeez, you look good. You're glowing. Herbie, you're glowing. Wow.
Stop. How you guys been, man? I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you.
Yeah, no, not a lot of...
The whitest teeth I've
Not a
ever
lot of
seen.
service in Fiji and stuff like that. Happy to see you look amazing. Hey, Herbie.
Kirk.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
You are glowing, Herbie.
Look at you right
You look
now.
unbelievable.
You stop, dude. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys breaking down now? What's
Well, right now I think it's a
what's going on?
moisturizing treatment. I don't know.
Face.
Yeah, this particular Caucasian skin is not supposed to do this. You look better now than you looked, 20 years ago, man.
Yeah.
You look unbelievable, Herbie.
It's my mom. My mom gave me, I guess, decent skin. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no remedies.
Decent.
I have no remedies. I have nothing. I wish I did.
You should get some Papatui going, Obviously, that'll get you going in there. You know all about it. Herbie, we're talking about the Nico Iamaleava situation with Tennessee in the transfer portal being open and, how this was seemingly inevitable, but obviously this is the first big name where this is taking place. What are your thoughts on it? I know the old college football heads hate it because it feels like it's disrespecting the game and this isn't what it's about, but feels like with the changes that were made, this was kind of inevitable. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Herbie, as you kind of watch it unfold?
Yeah, I think most people I've talked to have kind of come to grips with NIL, with understanding that players are being paid and that's kind of part of the world. I think the gripe or the concern is not having any rules or regulations. The fact that people are coming out saying that players are talking about in the first portal threatening to leave if they don't get what they want and maybe even skipping bowl games or the playoff. And now having a player like this try to hold his team hostage, even though he's paid pretty handsomely, and he decides, hey, not he, but his team decides, hey, you got to give us what we need. I just try to put this into NFL perspective. Imagine if the starting running back, Bijan Robinson of Atlanta, decides in the middle of the season that he doesn't want to play anymore, and he decides he's just going to leave. He's just not going to play. Or the starting quarterback for, I don't know, name any starting quarterback. He says, well, I'm not getting paid. Brock Purdy says, this is ridiculous what I'm being paid off this Mr. Irrelevant contract. Gets to like week 7 and just decides, the hell with this. I'm done. Like, that can't happen, right? You're under contract. You can't do that. Well, in college football, we don't have that. So you get these agents and you get these, sometimes dads who are playing agents who are playing a very dangerous game with head coaches and with universities. And they try to use leverage and they try to think that they can get something when they can't. And I applaud Josh Heupel for standing up and not because players don't deserve to be paid, but because of how this unfolded and the timing of it. I just think that one thing I continue to think about is if the NFL has an issue, Roger Goodell, the owners, the NFLPA, there's a CBA, they work things out. Right? They create the CBA and there's grounds of understanding of what the rules and regulations are. Who is that in college football? You tell me. Is it the conference commissioners? Is it the presidents? I know that everybody wants to blame the NCAA. They have zero power. They have no power over the sport. Who's running the sport? Who are we supposed to file these complaints to? Who's supposed to make change? Yeah. I have no idea who that is. So we can sit here and be upset. We can sit here and say, this, we need some, everybody says guardrails. Who the hell is going to create? Who's creating the guardrails?
And who's policing the guardrails? I mean, there are so many things that you have to build. It's a multi-billion-dollar business that has no structure that you have to kind of piece together after it's already running. And to your point about the NFL with the quarterbacks or running backs doing that, they have the salary cap as an excuse. Like, we can't just give you another $10 million because we have a certain amount of money we're allowed to pay for the entire team. Right now, the way I assume these reps see it is, yeah, you just got to go to a booster and get another $500,000. Yeah, you got to do this, and that is not sustainable. Obviously, that is a situation for the teams that they would like to have a built-in excuse like the NFL has. But I don't know how that happens. To your point, I don't know how any of that happens. It's so much work, Herbie. We've talked about this ad nauseum. It is so much work getting so many people to agree on things, and then also having the right ideas that actually fix it. I mean, I don't know how they do it, Herbie, unless it's you.
Nobody's got the stones to become that guy who's going to be the leader and say, this is what we're doing. Everybody's afraid of litigation. Everybody's afraid of the threat of litigation. Nobody says what they really think. Nobody's willing to be a leader. Nobody's leading this sport. That's where we are right now. You know, you have an SEC commissioner who's in charge of just huh?
Why is that? Why is no one willing to take that? And why don't we have somebody? We know how big college football is. Why is no one doing that?
Because of what I just said, everyone's afraid right now in this player movement. If you do anything that's perceived to not be willing to give what the players want, then you're a problem. You need to be removed. And so people are just kind of like leading like this. Like they're terrified to lead. They're terrified to make big. They're terrified to make big decisions, and ultimately they're sitting back and not doing what to me they need to do, which is having some balls and making some decisions and taking the heat. And the problem right now is if you do that, you get an attorney who either threatens to sue you or sues you, and now you're in a tough spot because the players win all these arguments. The players win all these debates. I've seen ESPN analysts come out and they want to blame the NCAA. Like, when in doubt, just blame the NCAA. I mean, that's all you have to do. The NCAA is like the boogeyman. You just when in doubt. It's never has anybody ever come out and said a player's ever at fault ever?
Well, Nico, this one's been pretty loud on Nico, I think. And then during the college football playoff, I think there was some.
Well, I don't mean fans. I'm talking about people that follow the sport and care about the sport. Let me just say this about Nico. I did about 4 or 5 games with Tennessee. First time I did a Tennessee game, I was very interested to see what it was going to be like in our production meeting, what he's going to be like. I saw the pajamas. I heard about the $8 million. No idea what's true, what's not. And he hopped on our first call that we did with him. It was against NC State early in the year. I think it was the first game of the year. And I thought, all right, here we go. And this dude was one of the typical Polynesian, laid back, calm, quiet, humble, nicest guys I've ever spoken to. I was blown away. So I'm not piling on Nico at all. I don't know what's gone on. I don't know. I hear about his dad. I hear about his team. I can just tell you the kind of guy that's why I'm sure it's tough for Josh Heupel to let him go is if it's Nico, Nico's like a great teammate. Nico's a great guy. Nico is a guy that you want as a guy from my time being around him. You want him in your huddle. I talked to Jack Sawyer after the Ohio State-Tennessee game. We were going to do the Oregon game, and we were just reminiscing about the week before. And he said, I'll tell you what, man, we knew we had him early, but I was blown away by their quarterback. That guy we cracked a couple of his helmets. He just kept coming back. He kept competing. He goes, that kid's the real deal. So I'm impressed with Nico as a person. I'm impressed with Nico as a player. The kid was a true freshman last year. Everybody said, oh, he's not worth it. He is worth it. I don't know what he's worth and what he's not worth. I know that in the college game, as a true freshman, to try to run Josh Heupel's scheme, when you got Dylan Sampson, who's an outstanding back, and the receivers were okay, but they didn't really have a high.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't really.
Him as a player. I'm just saying that when do you ever hear anybody be critical in this era of a player, because they're afraid to be critical of a player because you get labeled as a guy that's against the players. You get labeled as a guy that's an old head. And I'm just saying that somebody's got to have the stones to step up. And I don't know who that is. I have no idea who it is, but I hope one day somebody decides to be a freaking leader and help us save this sport, because we're not saying take NIL away. We're not saying any of that. We're just saying, can we have some freaking rules? Not give the players all the cards. The players went from having no cards to every single card. And that's not right. It's just not healthy.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think putting guardrails on it is hurting the players. I think inevitably it's going to help the players going forward. It will. It's just like the CBA, and the union. The NFLPA used to come every single year to every single team. It would normally be the longest day of the week, and it would be at the end, and they would say that you're getting your Madden checks at the end of this thing. Okay, so they are setting it up for you to not ask a lot of questions. Okay, let's do that. But they would run a video, about why the NFLPA exists, when the union began, and all those reasons. And at the beginning, whenever you're beginning something like this, like a CBA or a union, there are so many questions that have to be answered. There's so much work that needs to be done because there's so much money on the line and there's so many people you have to care for. So like what's good for Nico, and the NFLPA preaches this, what's good for the number one guy on the roster isn't necessarily going to be great for the 53rd guy on the roster. So if there's guardrails and some restrictions, I think it'll help the overall player in college ball, and I think it'll inevitably make it sustainable as well for the players to make money. So I don't think it's a negative thing towards the players to try to get guardrails. I think it's actually a good thing for the players in the long run. But who's going to sign up for that trek? Good luck. Good luck, whoever it is.
Let me just say one last thing on this, because I know you want to get into some other stuff. That when you hear NIL, what does that stand for?
Name, image, likeness, potential.
Right. So basically marketing. It's marketing. It's not a pay-for-play situation where booster whoever from whatever school can say, hey, that guy's available? Hey, let's go spend $10 million. That's not what this market was supposed to be about. That's not what this is. And the idea of that still existing or continuing to exist is not healthy. Collectives are not healthy. Boosters paying for players is not healthy. NIL is healthy. Like if Nico could have created money and opportunities in the marketing world off his name, image, and likeness in Knoxville in the state of Tennessee, more power to him. If Jeremiah Smith in the state of Ohio and the city of Columbus right now off of his name, image, and likeness can create millions of dollars, more power to him. But the idea of some booster saying, hey, we need a tight end, let's go get this guy, well, we'll just outbid him, just go get him. That's not what this is about. That's not what name, image, and likeness is about. We're not pay for play, and the whole thing is a disaster. I'm all about paying these guys, but let's do it. Let's be responsible. Let's help these guys grow and develop as people, and not just rely on boosters to outbid one another for these guys to be playing at their school. It's silly. It's embarrassing that that's where we are. Let's get back to what it's supposed to be, which is NIL, name, image, and likeness, which is marketing, which is what they do in the NFL.
Well, we like, these players more than everybody else is what the collectives say. That is why we are paying them more money than ever. What did Nick Saban say? Coach Saban said that there's going to come a point where something happens. He had a term for the breaking point. I forget what he said. He said there's going to be something that's going to happen, and then that's going to kind of drive and initiate change that is going to be needed. I think all of us that were in the sport or lucky enough to talk about the sport knew that catastrophe was around the corner somehow. We knew it. Literally from the beginning, because of everything you just said. These same messages have been said for the last few years about college ball. I think everybody that's been around it, maybe this is the one. This is the situation where a team is not ending up better because of it. A university isn't. Player isn't ending up better because of it. College ball is not ending up better because of it. And all eyes are on it. So maybe it's big enough to initiate some change. I hope that'll be the case. And Herbie, maybe you're the guy that changes the entire sport.
Hell yeah.
Maybe instead of getting that beautiful tan You know, after that season ends, maybe we go sit in boardrooms for 10 to 12 hours a day, dealing with every conference, every president, every athletic director, every television network, every contract. Yeah, that would be a blast. That's what people are going to sign up for.